Hi there, welcome to TELW, the English workshop with me, Manu. I hope you're coping well with the coronavirus lockdown. Do stay indoors and take all precautions your doctors ask you to. Stay healthy. Alright, in this video we're going to look at how to describe dependencies. What are dependencies? Look, in our everyday life we notice that events are usually connected with other events. For example, salary depends on the performance, price depends on supply, intelligence depends on knowledge, health depends on food and exercise, and so on. Look, let's look at the business world, for instance. We need to think about a lot of these dependencies there as well. For example, we ask ourselves, if this happens, what will be the result? If I do this, what's going to happen? So we need to know the relationships between actions, events, situations, and so on. This alone will help us understand what is to be done, when, where, etc. to get the most benefit. In other words, do you want to do something? Then you will need to do something else. Or maybe something else needs to happen first. So see, there are at least two actions, events, or situations involved. And there is this dependency among them. So these are called the dependencies. Now, why do we need to learn how to talk about dependencies? Because our life is full of such dependencies and we talk about this every time, every day. Let's see how to state these dependencies properly so that people understand you correctly. And when you state them clearly, your authority will be unmistakable and the reactions will be more constructive. Also, you know what? We change our decisions, we make new decisions, and all these things depend on the change in the dependencies surrounding our decisions. And in the real world, be it at work or business or at home, even socially, we will need to convey our ideas, our perspectives to the others. And this is where this video becomes important. We look at it from the business and non-business points of view. In the business perspective, we look at the negotiation bit. It'll be clearer there. You can use it everywhere. Of course, don't forget that negotiation is a very universal form of communication. So if you're good at negotiation, the language bit that is, you're going to be good at every other form of communication as well. Now, one thing needs to be clarified here. We are not studying the process of negotiation, but the communication bit involved in it, the language bit. We'll look at how we can use the language correctly to convey our intentions unambiguously, clearly. How to state our perspective of the relationships between actions, events, and situations clearly, assertively, and confidently so that we contribute to the success, maybe of the project or whatever is involved. Before I proceed, I'm asking you to like this video, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, why haven't you? And share this video. Let others benefit by it as well. I love hearing from you, so do write your answers, comments, and observations below. Now let's start with the business perspective. In this video, we're going to look at the initial stage of the negotiation process where both the parties are collecting information. It's called the preparation stage or the initiation stage. Now in this stage, there's no real possibility of making any deal. But they're looking at the opportunity of doing business in the future. Well, the future could be even 5 minutes from now, but that's still the future. And what are the features of this stage? First, the possibility of doing business right now is zero. Therefore, it's a theoretical situation, a hypothetical situation, unreal situation. Third, nobody is willing to commit because they don't know the reality as yet. They are still testing the waters. And number 4, the parties are looking at a future action or a future state. 5, and this is the rub, there could be some scope for action. This is very important. So let me repeat it. There could be some scope for action provided the situation changes or something happens. But the speaker doesn't believe the situation will change or something will happen. Or maybe the speaker doesn't know what to believe. It's like saying, I would, but I can't, or I won't. So this is not a real situation. It has not been finalized. It is still up in the air. No decision has been taken yet. So we use what's technically called the second conditional. You'll notice I've repeated quite a few things here. That's because this is a very important concept and a very confusing one too. It has to be understood correctly and clearly. In other words, the repetition is on purpose. Now let's look at the way a typical conversation might go.
I'd like to buy a few student chairs. How much would they be?
They're priced between 250 and 1200 rupees per chair. How many would you like to buy?
I'm looking at 500 chairs now and another 4,500 over the next 6 months.
For that size, I could give you a discount of 12% across the range.
So you see, the conversation is all about using the past form of the verb. So they use would, could, etc. They're not talking about making any deal. They're just testing the waters. Nothing confirmed as yet. So what's the rule that we just learned? If we are talking about imaginary things, hypothetical things, theoretical things, we go one step back into the past. So instead of saying, I will give you the order, I say, I would give you the order. I'm not sure I will. For example, the seller was saying, if you placed an order for 5,000 chairs, we could give you a 12% discount. Notice the word placed, not place. We could, not we can. He's saying, I know you haven't placed any order. I don't know if you intend to do so, but I'm presuming that you will. So this is my offer. Right. And the timeline will go like this. If you placed an order now, we would, in the future, give you a discount of 12%. But I'm not sure you will, so placed and could. Now, what does this mean in the real practical world out there? So you use this kind of sentences, like I said, they're called the second conditional, when you are just seeking information but not intending to finalize the deal. When the situation doesn't exist right now, and it may or may not in the future, you don't know, and you are the speaker. Nobody's willing to commit, neither are you. So it is all about the hypothetical situations. And I want you to understand this first, very clearly. We don't know if the situation will arise. Let's look at some non-business examples here now. First one. Sanjana would marry Ravi if he got a job. All right. So what's it say? It says Ravi doesn't have a job. But when he gets one, if he gets one, Sanjana will definitely marry him. But on the practical front, she's not going to wait forever. So Ravi has to get the job immediately, ASAP. Now, the speaker is also saying, I don't believe Sanjana is going to marry Ravi. That's why I said Sanjana would marry Ravi. So the speaker doesn't believe that Sanjana is going to marry Ravi. Now, let's look at another situation. If I had 1 crore rupees, 10 million, 1 crore is 10 million. If I had 1 crore rupees, I'd buy that house. Note, I said I'd buy that house. I would contracted to I'd. So what I'm saying is, I don't have the money now, so I won't buy the house. And I don't believe I'll have the money. That's why I said I would buy the house. Incidentally, if I believe I'll have the money later, I'll say, when I have 1 crore rupees, I will buy that house. One more situation. If I were the PM, I'd cancel the permit. Obviously, it means I'm not the PM. I don't believe I'll be the PM. So I won't cancel the permit. But if I become the PM, I will. I don't believe I'll be one though. One more. If I had the money, I would give you. A very common excuse, I guess. I don't have the money. I don't believe I'll be able to get that money soon enough to be able to give you. So I said I would give you. But of course, if I do get the money soon enough, I definitely will give you. But I don't believe I'll be able to get the money soon enough. Okay, let me give you one more example before I go to an example from law. Yeah, you heard that right, law. The 5th example is, if you owned that land, you could give them the title deed. Now, this is again a lawyer telling the client how to get a permission from the municipality to build a house. So the lawyer is saying, if you owned that land, you could give them the title deed. So he's saying, you don't own the land now. Maybe if you try, you can own the land at a future date. I don't know. I don't believe that you'll ever own that land. But if you do, when you do, you have the ability to get the permission by giving them that title deed. I think these 5 examples have made it clear. Let's give one for the other law students. I'm taking this example from the Indian Drugs Act, Indian Drugs and Cosmetics Act. Now, Section 34A of this act says, and I'm not quoting it, it says, if the acts done by the drug officials have any connection with the discharge of their official duties, they will not be punished under Section 197 of the CRPC. Okay, in simple English, that statement will be, if you simply discharge your duties, you won't be punished. That's the simple English. Now, look at the sentence. I said, if you discharge your duties, you won't be punished. I've just said a rule. It's a simple, plain rule. I'm not talking about intentions. That's what the law says. Now, let's say the drug official is considering one act which may not be a simple discharge of his duties. Let's say he's considering tearing the pages of an official register. So, his lawyer can say, if you didn't tear the pages from the register, you wouldn't be punished. Wouldn't, would not, wouldn't. That's the negative bit. Or the positive bit would be, if you tore the pages from the register, you'd be punished. Because the law says, if you simply discharge your duties, you won't be punished. This means right now you haven't torn the pages, but if you do, that is in future, maybe 2 seconds from now, you will definitely be punished. So the rule is, if you tear, you will be punished. The advice, if you tore, you would be punished. But If you were to show that you did this in discharge of your official duties, you wouldn't be punished. Now, when I say if you tore the pages from the register, you would be punished, I mean to say that is the intention of the law as it stands in the books. But if the lawyer is very confident that he can save his client, he could say, if you tore the pages from the register, you could be punished. Not would. You could. All he's saying is, look, you won't be punished if I can help it, and I'm your lawyer, and I'll get you out of this muck. What this means is, would is the intention, and could is the ability. But if the lawyer is uber confident, he'll say, if you tore the pages from the register, you might be punished. Hey, but I'm here, so don't worry. Go ahead and tear it. Let's see what's going to happen. That's the uber confident lawyer. There is a very small chance that you'll be punished. A very small chance. So he says, you might be punished. Now, what's the difference between would and could? Let's exemplify this. In fact, I'm just going to give you one example. If I won a lottery, I could do maybe 5 things. I could buy a house, I could get married, I could give the money to my parents, I could go on a world tour, I could buy an expensive car. These are the options. I'll be able to do these things. But what's my intention? That's the question. To tell my intention, I'll say, I would start my own business. I won't do anything else. That's my intention. Then again, there could be a very small probability that I do something else. A small probability. So if I won a lottery, I might give some money to my neighbor. Just might. Don't be surprised if I don't. Right. So in this video, we've seen a variety of situations that seek to describe the cause and effect relationships between people or events or states or actions, etc. The causes didn't actually exist. They were theoretical, hypothetical, imaginary, and it was like saying, let's presume for the moment I'm going to do this. Would you do that? All right. So we've tried to cover as many different situations as possible. In the next video, we're going to look at another case where we're going to talk about real situations. We'll be talking about how to discuss real situations, like it was the hypothetical here. The second video, we're going to look at real situations. There, it'll be like saying, okay, here's the real deal. I'm giving you this. Will you give me that? Until then.